Time is 9 o'clock. The meeting will please come to order. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Minutes.
Minutes look good. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last 2 weeks ago. And also we got some, well, one at a time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
Now I'll make a motion to also approve the minutes from the Truth and Taxation meeting from last night that we all got a copy of.
And I'll second that too.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. That motion is carried. Okay, up is Mr. Yant and Mr. Frank.
You got Rick covered?
I've had, and I think you've probably got a lot of the correspondence I received. What I'm talking about is there's a building down in Money Creek Township, and actually the unincorporated area of Money Creek, that going way back, the county issued permits, and it was restructured from an old schoolhouse into a single-family dwelling. That's probably could have been 10, 12 years ago. The guy completely remodeled it at that time. He ended up, when he was done, he sold it, and the property then, I think when the gentleman had it for about 2 years, it ended up with a fire. That's probably been 8 years ago, and the building has sat since that time with nothing being done to it. And I think I've probably sent you the pictures of what's standing there now. I did receive complaints the first part of October on this in regard to some of the area residents that for health and safety purposes that should be the problem or the housing should be addressed. I went, like I said, down the first time and looked at it. There is a rodent problem, definitely, and also from a safety standpoint, a lot of the windows are busted, the glass is laying all over, the roof is caving in, and the inside of the facility or the structure is completely gutted, burnt. There is rubbish laying around it, a lot of overgrowth on it, and it's definitely something that should be addressed. After I did take the initial look, I sent a letter plus the photos down to the owner and had him, asked him to, and this was probably more towards the end, third week in October, to give me a call, as I wanted to have some kind of dialogue with him. I did not receive nothing back from him. I sent the letter registered, and like I say, nothing happened. I since then went and talked to the county attorney, went back down and took some additional photos of the whole area. And we sent the letter back down and indicating that, and I worked with the county attorneys, there is statutes that address structures like this that become a public health and safety liability, and that and there's a process to go through if the county or governments have so desired. In the meantime, I did contact the township and a couple of the area and those that complained on it, and had some discussions with them. This This has been a problem, I guess, for the last 2-3 years, that has been brought now to not only the township, but now the county's burners, that it is a liability to the area. Since that time, we did send another letter to the landowner that's listed on the tax records, and that we were going to the county board here and with a discussion on how that building should be handled and whether the county wants to proceed on something. Last Thursday, I finally did receive a telephone call from the gentleman that he owned it, that he did get our correspondence. He indicated he did not receive the first package, but he did receive the last one we sent, where is coming to the county board's discussion here. He indicated that he would like a little time. He's trying to sell it. He gave me a list of, and I think I did send that to you by email because I didn't have time to put it in the packet there, that I sent you that there yesterday. I've since contacted those people that he had given me that he had been trying to purchase it, and none of them had any desire to purchase it. That was something probably 2 years ago they would have been interested in, but they since moved on, and that they no longer have a desire to purchase it. So the one did indicate that if it was maybe cleaned up, or if he could work a deal with cleaning it up, but that he would be interested in maybe buying it, but I'm just a little bit hesitant on going that direction, just because of the mere fact that there's a lot of material there. There's a lot of things that need, as far as tearing it down. I just assume if we're going to go that route, is that the county maybe just take the lead front on this here, and that we, I'd like to, I guess my thing is that working with the county attorney on probably, if the board's desire is to go that route, of maybe taking quotes for having it delivered or demolished and then taken down and delivered to a landfill over the landfill in La Crosse. Also, there is an old well in the place that's going to have to be looked at also. I did get kind of an estimate on one. It's going to have to be somewhat, it's going to have to be purged too, because there was a lot of fire water and everything for spraying that things, and everything went to the basement. And that well is in the basement of the building. I did get some estimates on that, plus an estimate on, it was just kind of a quick estimate on what it would take to have the structure raised and delivered to La Crosse. The third thing is, before we would touch it, I would still have to get a hold of a company for asbestos check on it also. A lot of the shingles and different things are laying around the schoolhouse there. That's going to have to be cleaned up also. But there isn't a whole lot of material left on the inside. But it's something, if we're going to end up having to raise it, then we'll have to end up going through that process too. So I said that is probably where I'm at with it. I did have some discussions with the township as far as what their process was, and some of the area, like I said, residents, and they're concerned. One is there's a lot of young children in the area, and two is that there is definitely a rodent problem coming through there that you can see. So I don't know, Sam, you got?
Well, just that, well, a couple of things. One is that proposed resolution sort of lays out exactly what would happen, is you'd authorize Mr. Frank and I to go forward. We would send this resolution, if it's passed by the board, to the landowner. He would have the time frames outlined in that to get this taken care of, and if he doesn't, then there are certain timelines after that I would go to district court and ask for a court order. And it would just track with what's in that resolution, allowing us to raise the building. There are certain fixtures, vehicles there that I think the statute's broad enough to allow us to dispose of those as well. One of the things that I would bring up, and it's up to your decision on this, is that this is nothing that's in our ordinance. It's nothing that's in the township ordinance as far as I know. It's a state statute, which means it's available to the township. And the township could do this if they wanted to. And as you indicated, as Mr. Frank indicated here, except for perhaps his time, it's really not going to involve the resources of the county here. We would be hiring outside people to raise it, haul it away, whatever, just like the township could or some other entity could. And so in a sense, we're doing the work for the township, which, if the board wants to do it, that's fine. We're just using the state statute. I don't know if their attorney wasn't familiar with it, but I had some experience with it when Mr. Frank came to my office about this. And there's a way to do this, and we just have to follow the timeline. And with the owner responding, we have service on him. So, if the board wants to move forward and you approve the resolution, we would move forward as outlined in the resolution. If you didn't want to move forward on this today, if you wanted to table it to give the owner some time to move forward or something, I suppose you could do that too. But it's just a matter of we need the resolution to go forward and start the process.
Mr. Zimieski, your district, you have any comment?
Well, I tell you what, I got the gentleman from Money Creek, we got Township right behind us. I defer a little bit to you guys before I speak. Anything you would like to add?
We're in favor of you guys doing it.
Yep. And then, Shar, we had talked about tax forfeiture on part of that, correct?
Right. What I would recommend is that you put that onto the property tax as a special assessment, similar to what we did with the meth house down by Eitzen.
Yep.
And it's coming up on tax forfeiture. It's actually two parcels. One, I think, is tax forfeiting in 2017 and the other in 2018. And if it tax forfeits, then we can recoup our costs by selling the property.
Sure. I guess, because this is the district that I represent, and we've got some township members here, my thought too is that this is an issue that needs to be cleaned up. I know there's more structures throughout the county that are this way, and I guess my hope would be that, if the landowners would like to do something or sell it, or it means that much to them, that it would be done by now already. I'd like to see it cleaned up and the parcel sold off, or like you said, tax forfeited and sold, so that somebody could build a structure on there and try and help maintain the community by having a nice structure versus a dilapidated one. So I'm in favor of it. I've had numerous discussion with Rick and Sam over this, and unless
You would
anybody
think,
else-
I
you would
met
think
with-
that the owners would have collected some insurance
That's
for
true
the
too.
property damage, which is
That seems
long,
to
long
be-
evaporated.
It seems to be somewhat of the case in this, is that
Yeah.
we went back and talked to the recorder to make sure there were no,
I checked.
the status of liens. At first, we thought there was a lien because there was a foreclosure, it appeared to be, but then there isn't anything now, so I think what happened is that there was a foreclosure and then that happened, and then the insurance money paid it off. And so I'm thinking if the owner right now wanted to sell it, one of the issues he's going to have to do is the title's going to have an issue with the taxes. And so depending on what they are, that's probably going to make any sale for the owner right now or for the possible buyer besides the cleanup potentially less favorable as far as trying to sell the property.
Mr. Frank, you had an estimate as far as demolition costs?
Yeah, I just did kind of a quick and dirty estimate on it, and it run about $35,000. It's going to take just a quick estimate. Like I said, that well, it was kind of guessed without going down and doing a whole lot of like filming it or whatever. Another $2,500, $3,000. The thing is, it's going to have to be before they close it. We'll have to purge it.
And
Just
then
to make
seal it.
sure all that
Yeah.
old water and the contaminants are out of it before we actually would grout it shut. There's another thing, couple of things I was contacted. There's a cement, antique, not an antique value, but it's value to the school district down there where it, above the one door, it had the old Money Creek and the year it was built and stuff. And some people expressed some interest in that. And I
Something
said that's
that
probably
could be cut
something
out.
we could work with the contractor. And, yeah, the Money Creek area would like to have that for their purposes.
Historic.
Because I have firsthand knowledge, too, that the city of Caledonia has looked into demolishing or demolishing a building in Caledonia, and the cost there also was $35,000 to demolish and then remove the debris and restore the site.
Yeah, we'd end up having to bring some fill in because that basement is deep. I mean, it's not your average house deep, but it's probably, I'm guessing 10, 12 feet. So it's, yeah, you definitely got we're gonna have to bring in fill again to actually, and the problem is with that, if somebody would buy it, there's a hole sitting there, but in the meantime, I would hate to see that somebody get hurt without filling it in too.
Current owner has had how many years, I guess, to do something
Well, my
like this?
understanding, I went back, I think that had burnt in '06 or '08, I think, is when it burnt. So there's been,
Plenty of time to clean it up.
yeah,
And there's been no effort to clean it up. Judging from the pictures, there's debris, junk vehicles, other junk items.
well, and there's a lot of woody vegetation growing up all the way through it too, so it makes it look really like an eyesore. It's not, aesthetically, it's not a pretty sight.
So you just need from us approval to go through.
Well, my thing is, what I'd like to do is, number one is go out for quotes on demolishing it. We'd end up having to, as Sam said, there's some vehicles sitting there we're gonna have to address. There's tires, appliances laying on the outside. And some of that I can take in through the drop site program to get rid of. But the three things I'd be looking for is, one is I'd have to have a quick, to get a company in as cheap as we could to do an asbestos abatement. From there, yes, go out for quotes at the same time to what it would take to have it raised, and then also, when they're doing that, is also have, it'd be probably behoove us right at the same time then as they're raising it to have the well addressed too, and then grouted shut.
So you need from us a motion for something, or you just need a consensus of the
Resolution.
board? Or?
There should be a resolution. What I anticipate, there should be a resolution if you would approve the resolution. And then what I would anticipate is that Rick would start that work concurrently with the timeline starting that's outlined in that resolution. If the owner doesn't respond, we'd go to the court, we'd get the order that would allow us, it's our property, and then we can raise it. And then we could come back at that point before we undertake that work and indicate, okay, here's what our final, we have the ability to take it down, and here's what our final costs are going to be before we actually execute that work.
Do we
Sam,
need-
have you drafted a resolution? I haven't seen.
I provided it, it's not in the packet, I
haven't seen it.
It wasn't
Okay.
in the
I didn't see
packet,
it.
but everything, all the other information and pictures were,
I'll get it to you before,
yeah.
as soon as I go back to my office. I
That would
can't
be
access
great.
my internet for whatever reason, otherwise I'd get it to you now.
Do we need any kind of resolution or anything from the township?
No,
Nothing?
no, we would supersede them. The statute seems to allow us to do this at this point.
Well, let's do this. Let's do the formal approval of the resolution next week after Sam can get that to us. In the meantime, do we
Certainly.
just have a consensus for Rick to just start going
Mhm.
to get estimates, and then maybe Rick could have something even by next week?
Certainly.
I mean,
Does
would
that work?
I mean, I got estimates now, just like I said, but I don't think you're gonna get a contractor would like to quote me unless they're actually gonna do the work. But, I'd like to have a number to be able to go out and get those quotes, just to mail out or whatever.
Okay.
That's gonna be the bigger one. And then also to proceed, I could probably start today or tomorrow on finding a company to come in quick and, maybe I can have a cost estimate on that of what it's gonna take for asbestos.
I think that'd be appropriate to, hey, bring everything together
Yeah.
on the table, and then we can make our decision and
Yep.
have a have everything in order.
Well,
And I guess that explains some of the confusion, because the resolution lays out everything in it, exactly what the owner is required to do, what the board would be authorizing as far as raising the building, selling the fixtures and the personal property. And so I guess that would help you out a little bit more. I thought you had that.
Okay. Well, I think the consensus of the board is we want to move forward on it, but we need a copy of the resolution.
I'll get that to you.
And the estimates, I think that'd be
And the
great.
estimate.
Okay.
Have everything together. Consensus?
Yep, I agree.
Sounds good. So will be it.
I just have one other thing. I did send that kind of late in your packet. It's in regard to egg bag plastic. This is something we've been looking for a solution for some time, and I'm talking years here. It is a problem not only at the landfill, the incinerators. I don't like to see it at the drop site, as we have been taking, but it's not a solution to what we have until these last few months. We've been talking with a firm called Revolution Plastics, and what they have doing, and I showed you the brochure. In essence, what it does is they're coming into the state. They're in Wisconsin now, and they're coming into Minnesota. And the nice thing about this whole program, we've got very little cost in proceeding with the program. What they would do is basically what happens is a feedlot owner or operator that deals with this plastic would contact the company, either by phone, there's by their email, or there's website where they can register. What they're looking at is 55 or more participants, if we can get that many in the county, that would generate up to 1,500 pounds per year. They would provide the dumpster and the pickup at no cost to the county nor to the feedlot operator. They're taking it free. They're taking it back, and they're actually making they're recycling it, making products back out of this. I've been in contact with the gentleman over there. They're looking at Houston County, possibly early spring, if we can. There's a couple things that the county's going to need to do. One is promoting the program, advertising it to get landowners or farmer operators to participate. And two is we would need a staging area, because once they bring all these containers in, they need to be, the farmers or landowner operator, feedlot operator would need to come and get the container. They're not going to deliver them, but they would actually. And my first thoughts was to talking with the fairgrounds. As far as a staging area, it's sizable, where we could get vehicles in and out, trailers or whatever, trucks, and have that take place. There's a couple things I was looking at, not only through the papers, but also my understanding with talking with Aaron, feedlot operator. Registration of all feedlots is coming now the 1st of January in 2017. And I asked him about developing a letter informing all the operators that this program is now available and what they need to do in order for, if they want to get rid of this egg bag plastic. It's kind of that way I would touch all the operators in the county. But in the same token, they need to register. This is kind of they like to see it happen right away. They want all these dumpsters delivered, and it's kind of like a one-shot. You've got to sign up. So 2 years from now, if it happened, because like I said, they're going to bring all these dumpsters in at no charge, not only the county or the feedlot operator, but that's why it's they want to do it one time. So what I do need from the board is the approval to go ahead. I did kind of outline what it's going to take as far as us implementing this program and helping the feedlot operators out. And also the staging area, which we can probably provide, hopefully. That if not, I was thinking about maybe the dump sites are Caledonia dump site or something. I ain't got a lot of room there, but it'd be like a plan B. But I think this is very, like I said, it's something that I would like to offer to the feedlot operators, and that I'd like to proceed with dealing with this Revolution Plastics as far as having the program implemented in Houston County. They do have, this program has been in Wisconsin the last 4 or 5 years now, and it's going quite well from what my research has looked at. Very well received. And I'd like to, like I said, it's an alternative from what we got to this ag bag plastic. It's finally something we can do without having to cost or, run it on the tax rolls or anything. I guess that's what, or any kind of, extra program that we would need to run through the drop sites. It's kind of handled between the companies and them and the feedlot operators.
Have you talked with the extension agent and possibly getting Fillmore County in? Because we partnership with Fillmore County. Mike?
I'll tell you what, Dana, there's a lot of counties that are well aware of this thing, and
Okay.
they're going to be pushing hard.
That would help you with your.
Yeah. Yes, I did, the last water plan meeting, this came up. And they're well aware of it, the extension is too. I did have a conversation with a couple of landowners, feedlot operators already too, that the word is out there that this company is around, but it's taken this long to get here, so.
Sounds good.
I went to AMC last week, and I did bring, there's 2 counties in Minnesota, McLeod County and Stearns, that are doing it, and it's very, very successful up there, and I did bring you information on who to contact for them.
They started the program just around that St. Cloud area, just to
Mm-hmm.
get a feel for it, and once that word got out, like I said, they're getting.
Theirs is going gung-ho, and
They're
there's a
going-
phone number on
My
here.
understanding, they're going from east to west, and they'd like to cover Minnesota. They're going to do a lot of the Midwest.
Okay. So I did bring that information for you in
I-
case you
yeah,
needed a
I've got
phone
lot of
call.
it.
Okay. Good.
It's a good idea. I mean, it's something that needs to be done. Otherwise, there's just not really a home for it.
No, like I said,
product.
the only home you got, we've had problems with the incinerator. It wraps
Yeah.
around the
Right.
shredders, and that happens, you're probably downtime is 3-4 hours to get that all cleaned up. And putting it in a landfill is same thing. Them sheep's foot, when compaction, it's a problem. So they don't really want to see it either, but you don't want to burn it either.
Okay, so the only cost to us would be the advertising or getting the word out to get people to sign up
And some of my time, yes.
in your time, okay, which is,
I'd have to
Yeah.
find a staging area. Like I
Mhm.
said, my first thought was using the
Fair.
fairgrounds. It's
Mhm.
got plenty of room.
okay, if you please, Mr. Van Gort, did you have a brief comment?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the same program, but I just heard on the news a couple weeks ago that Winona County has just implemented a way to recycle all this ag bag type plastic. And if it's not the same, you want to look at what they're doing as well. Maybe Rick knows if it's the same program or not.
Same.
It is.
It is. I've been with contact with Winona County for the last few months, and I knew they had started it probably a couple months before I did, and they were kind of taking a lead on it. And I just like I said, we were trying our darndest to get it down there so we can kind of keep the ball rolling on this thing.
Thank you.
That'd be good.
Any more questions, comments?
Be good to get this going.
No,
It would be.
Yeah. You need to move forward on it.
We have a
Then if
motion.
I could get a,
You need a motion to that?
yeah, and a kind of a resolution there that we would participate with this program, and we would cover those types of items that,
I'll make a motion to proceed with the egg plastic recycling program.
Yep, second. Okay.
Okay.
You can go.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye,
Aye.
and opposed nay. Motion is carried.
okay,
Thank you.
and we'll see you a little bit later with Hank.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Ms. Kruger.
And,
Gus isn't here.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pass this one.
Good morning.
I'm test since it really is relating to our community services building. Anyway, my request this morning is that we approve the closing of the community services building, which also includes the veterans, for December 23rd, which is, the day before Christmas Eve. We just like to follow suit with what they're doing here at the courthouse. We may have some staff that will choose to work that day, pending if we have some home care clients that need to be seen. But otherwise, the office will be closed.
Well, move to close the CCSB building on December 23rd.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. That motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we would like to recognize employees. And I've got a list here. Got it? Oh, there it is. Thanks.
And the certificate says that
Mhm.
she had something she had to do at night with the court system.
Sorry, the actual board chair isn't here with us today, but. All right. Yeah. Beginning with, let's start with 10-year awards, or how do you, well, if you got 40 years, let's start at the high end. 40-year awards, should we?
Get out front. Sure.
Year award. Richard Frank. Rick Frank. Just it's right here. He's not far away. Also 40 years, Evelyn Maury. Evelyn Maury.
We asked
Yeah, if everybody could hang around for a little bit for photos and the press, that'd be great.
Thank you so much for your service. And Rick, we'll catch you later. And for 35 years of service, Beck Bauer, Beverly Bauer.
Beth couldn't be here.
25 years, Marcia Bauer. Well, thank you very, very much for your service.
You're supposed to go through and shake hands.
25 years of service, Eileen Meyer. Eileen's not here. And 25 years again, Julie Schleich. Must be working. Brian Swedberg, 25 years. Thank you very much for your service.
Just for you.
Board chair, would you care to take over?
No, I'm
Okay.
doing a great job.
20 years of service, Carl Ost Jr. Carl, thank you very much for your service. Very appreciate it. 20 years, Gene Decker. Gene, we thank you. Thank you for your service. 20 years, Randy Vick. 20 years, Richard Caston. truck somewhere probably. Okay. For 15 years, Mary Betts. 15 years, Patrick Burns, highway. Still working. 15 years, Tracy Erickson. And 15 years, Nikki Folsom. She's gonna be a kid. Thank you for your service. Okay, 15 years again, Teresa Gavin Kubitz. Teresa, thank you for your service. Years of service, Randy Hungerholt. Hungerholt, or the highway guys, just are seen in their trucks, and that's about it. And 15 years, Karen Kohlmeyer. Thank you for your service, very appreciated. Years of service, Lori Via. Lori, thank you for your service. 10 years, Jennifer Blocker. 10 years of service, Kurt Poolers. 10 years, Jason Leahy. 10 years, Bethany Moen. 10 years, Jesse Reed. Thank you for your service. Keep hanging in there. And 10 years of service, Michelle Schulte. Yes, and our 40-year man, Rick Frank. We thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you. Oh, yeah, a lot of bumps in the road along the way. Thank you. I don't get it. No.
And, where'd you want to go?
Let's just line up against the blank wall over there.
That's your invitation.
Good job, Steve. Very nice. Yeah, grab her. Mary, don't leave.
Okay, the gavel is yours.
Thank you. I think I'm just gonna let it ride for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Just not do anything right now.
Right? Randy! Hey, give me Randy Vick.
Oh, okay. No, we want Randy Vick.
Randy Vick.
Thank you for your service. Thank you very much.
Sorry for being late, huh?
Nice seeing you again.
I don't know, but I was the first one to test it.
What's that? You're up next. Yeah, have a seat. As soon as things quiet down, we'll reconvene, I guess, resume.
So have we done anything other than these three things?
That's about it.
Okay.
Congratulations, everybody.
Engineer Pogozinski, how would you like to start?
I have three items for the agenda today. The first item is to recommend purchasing a new truck box and getting it mounted for one of our 2006 plow trucks. Initially, we were planning on trading this truck in as part of our new plow truck that we just received over the last week. But earlier in the summer, we had a dump truck that tipped over. That truck was totaled. The county ended up getting $31,000 back in insurance. This truck, when we went to use the truck recently, the floor of the box twisted. As we went to lift it up, the floor of the box is just shot. It's rusted out. So we need to replace the box. We got 3 quotes. The low quote was from Michael's Truck Equipment, totaling $16,378. And that'll include the cost of the box along with the mounting. And then there's some different options that we're not going to do unless needed, such as putting in a new cylinder for the box to lift it up. There's a potential that they won't be able to reuse the existing cylinder, but we're going to try to reuse it if we can.
And the insurance money will go toward this from the one?
Essentially, this will be the insurance money we got back, or partially, some of it, and then we won't get rid of any other trucks this year.
Where's Michael's in Cross, isn't it? Or
Michael's is in La Crosse down on Miller Street.
oh, okay, so we don't have to go too far for them to put it on.
Correct.
So this is your what, rip wrap? Is that?
This will primarily get used for riprap during the summer months, and then the winter months it'll be our spare truck.
Mm-hmm.
So out of curiosity, does it have a thicker floor if it's for riprap? Or is it just kind of is there a standard?
Yeah,
box or how
our
does it
standard
work?
plow truck that we use in this county has a V-bottom in it, has a belt in the bottom of it, so it moves the sand product forward up to where we drop the sand down. Riprap trucks, we have a flat bottom on it.
It's like a standard dump truck box.
Like a standard dump truck box, yeah.
Yeah, rip wrap is really hard on boxes.
Yeah, when you start dumping riprap in a truck, it's going to
Dent it up.
dent up the box, and if you have belts inside the box, that's made to move small material. They're just not made to have riprap on top.
No. Move to approve purchase of a new box.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
This next item is for pedestrian crossing improvement over in La Crescent. Been approached by the city and La Crescent School District about the safety of kids crossing at the intersection of Oak Street and South 3rd Street in La Crescent, which South 3rd Street is County 6. County 6 is 2 lanes in each direction, so 4 lanes worth of traffic going back and forth. Currently, there is a crosswalk there with just the standard crosswalk signs. There's a lot of kids that walk to school in that area. The elementary school is 1 block to the south of the intersection. Crucifixion School and church is 1 block, block and a half to the north. So there's kids going both ways. There's people that use it at night to walk into businesses and stuff. So I've been working with the city, the school district, and MnDOT trying to determine an economical solution to improve that area, knowing that at some point in the future that intersection is going to be improved in some other manner as traffic increases on Oak Street, potential future development. We're going to need to make some other changes. But for the interim, we don't know how long that's going to be. It might be 5 years, might be 20 years before some other type of improvement. Around La Crosse area and a lot of cities in the area, they're going to what's called a LED rectangular rapid flash beacon. It's you have a crosswalk sign with an arrow, and in between it has a LED light. There's a push button, so if someone wants to cross, they push the button, lights turn on, and then you can cross. The cost of the unit to have one on each side of the road would be roughly $11,000, 10 and 12,000, plus the design, which is pretty minimal. Minimal inspection costs, and then maintenance. Everything is solar powered, so essentially it should be pretty maintenance free, except for replacing the batteries about every 3 years. What I would like to do is work with the city and school district, getting an agreement put into place where more than likely we have the county get everything designed up, bid out, inspected. Like have the county pay for that cost, have the county pay for 1/3 of the cost, potentially half the cost, depending on the school district's participation, to put this unit in, and then have the other entities pay for the remainder, and then once it's in, have the city take over as far as all future maintenance costs. So, kind of a partnership between the 2 or 3 entities. It's not budgeted. This won't be installed until sometime probably next spring. So it's into 2017's budget, but it's the cost of the county is relatively minimal, and we'd like to get going now rather than waiting and have this get pushed back to next summer, where it doesn't benefit the kids in the next spring. So if I can get approval on that.
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion. That's a very busy intersection there. It is.
That entire area.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Is that where they make the U-turns to get onto by the Quick Trip there?
A little bit to the south of there, or east, right like that.
Yeah, and it's always busy, and the signs that are there now really don't work.
Yeah, there's
No.
about 8,000 vehicles a day that go on
Yep.
South Third.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The third and final item I have is to purchase 3 mowers from Homily Equipment. This was a 2016 budgeted item. We wanted to wait and try to get our mowing from the 2016 season done with the mowers that we had, and then replace them now, so we have them for next summer. We looked at 2 different options. We got quotes from Homily Equipment for some Vermeer mowers, which are similar to what we currently have, same brand. And then we got a quote from Caledonia Implement for some New Holland mowers. The low quote came back from Homily Equipment in the amount of $21,765. So that's the recommendation. When you compare the quotes, it's a little bit difficult to compare, just because Homily Equipment's quote has 3 mowers on, and then they have a 4th mower, of what the additional cost would be if we traded in a 4th mower and got a replacement back. Caledonia Implements has 4 mowers, and the initial cost has the different trade-in amounts, and then it has some cost for spare parts. If we traded in all 4 mowers, wanted to go with the New Holland, we won't need to have the Vermeer parts. So that's why there's that additional $800 on Caledonia's for reduction of the cost. Since we recommend going with the Vermeer, we keep those parts as spares. We can keep using them.
Are they the same model, so that those parts would interchange?
The parts are interchangeable, yes. So that's the recommendation, is to go with the Vermeer at Homily Equipment.
And that was 21,000 for 4 mowers?
21, that'd be 3 mowers.
Three mowers. Okay.
Yep, and we budgeted, I believe, 24,000.
So do we have a motion to approve the purchase?
I'll make that a motion.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. One quick comment. I've been talking to Caledonia Equipment about the tractor lease we did this last year. That's worked out really good so far. We're intending to do the same thing again this next year. So we don't have a formal agreement in place. It'll come to the new board after the new year. But Caledonia's planning on doing that again with the county. Total cost ended up being $700 and some, $384, I believe, for the hourly rate plus a little bit of cost for some paint and parts. So very minimal cost, good deal for the county.
If they do that, is that, if we get that in sooner, they can get a mower in sooner?
That's why I've already actually been talking to them. They put the order in already to get the tractor in.
Okay.
Just with a understanding that we're more than likely going to go that route. They know it's not officially approved, but they want to get that mower on the way.
Cool.
Yeah, and you had planned on 2 tractors, but I think this was an unusual summer in that we had so much rain and a lot of growth, more mowing probably.
Well, what they wanted to have is 2 tractors, up to 250 hours per tractor. Ultimately, they didn't get a second tractor in time for us to get that swapped out at 250 hours. We ended up putting in about 380 some hours, and we did all on 1 tractor.
Do you need 2 tractors? I mean, it's a decent enough deal that, I mean, if we needed 2 tractors, that
Yeah.
we could do that, you know.
We have multiple tractors going at a time, but we only really need to lease 1 at a time right now at this point. You know, going down the road as we get a different tractor that, you know, the lease is up, if we can potentially at that point get 2 leases at the same time, that'd be good. But for now, it's been good with 1.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Our finance update, is Carol coming?
Carol was here.
She said she wasn't sure she was going to or not. You want me to see if
She
she's...
stepped out, her computer's still here.
Oh, yep.
Well, why don't we go ahead with
Mr. Puglisi is.
Puglisa. Our Human Services Director. Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we have a few contracts to present this morning.
Okay,
I think those should be in your packet.
great.
So I'll give you kind of a brief summary of them. One is with Hiawatha Valley Mental Health Center. These are all historic contracts that we're presenting to you, so there's nothing new and earth-shattering. These are contractual arrangements that Houston County has had with...
John, can I ask you to just raise your voice a little bit, because I can tell people are having trouble hearing you in the back.
Sure.
Or move a mic, is there a mic? Can we move?
Okay. Apologize for that. These are historic contracts that Houston County has had for a number of years with service providers for human services. So nothing real new here. It's annual renewal of contracts that you see on a regular basis. First one is with Hiawatha Valley Mental Health Center. This is a 10-county contract. Management is done through Olmsted County, and so these contracts are prepared by contract managers that we work with through Olmsted County on behalf of 10 counties. This establishes rates for a variety of different services, including Rule 25 chemical dependency assessment, some residential services, and also clinical supervision for adult mental health, children's mental health, and child protection. The contract is a change a bit this year. We reduced the not to exceed down from $125,000 to $60,000, and that's based on a couple of things. One, we're going to be looking at evaluating whether we can provide some of those Rule 25 assessments in-house with capacity that we have here. And also there was a medical management or management component to this contract that's being taken care of in a different thing. So we're still doing it, but it's shifted from this contract to a different place. And so we looked at our year-to-date numbers and decided that 60,000 was a good projection. And the total that we'll use in 2017 is driven by usage. So the not to exceed is what we believe would be a ceiling, but it's driven by the need by constituents in the community. And so that's pretty much the summary on that one. Do you want to take these one at a time?
One at a time, please. Could we have a motion to approve the contract with Hiawatha Valley Mental Health?
I'll make a motion to approve the Hiawatha Valley Mental Health.
Is there a
Contract.
second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, on to number 2. That's with ABC, and this is a community and center-based supported employment for adults with disabilities and also mental health diagnosis. The contract is to not exceed $44,289, and this represents a slight increase over last year's contract. That contract has been flat for several years. This represents a 6% increase in the rates that the contract establishes. And again, then that also means that that not to exceed figure is slightly higher than in previous years. Anything else any questions on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the ABC contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Last one is an individual contract with Polly Owens. She's an individual who provides person-based planning for a number of counties in southeastern Minnesota. Essentially what this is somebody who's a neutral party that helps with families that are going through different types of crisis, and sometimes they'll view different parties at the table as having a perceived conflict or an interest or whatever, and so being able to bring somebody in who's kind of a neutral party to help those individuals or families work through some of those issues is a real valuable tool. This also is a historic contract we've used Ms. Owens before, and this establishes the rate and also the process for referral in working with Houston County. It's kind of an intermittent use type of thing, so we don't have a not to exceed. It's I don't know, how many times have we used it in a previous year?
I believe we used it twice in 2016. The funds that we used to pay for are waivered funds, so it's our individuals who are on waivered services who use the waiver to cover the cost.
So that's Polly Owens. Any
we have
questions?
Do we have a motion to approve the contract with Polly Owens?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, one last thing. We brought some contracts in November for DHS, and these were for adult mental health initiative contracts. And DHS said that we needed to have the chair of the board sign them and have the title and date, and we didn't do that. So I have new signature pages if, Judy, if you could sign those. Should I just bring them up? Or?
Yep.
Okay.
And I can bring it down later, or whatever. Thank you. She makes copies and all that stuff.
Perfect. Thank you.
These ones sign.
Anything else?
Okay. I'm gonna- Here, bye.
You guys have a good day.
You too. Thanks for coming in.
I didn't realize there was a mic here.
Doesn't really look like one.
I'm supposed to sit in the middle. I'm
Yeah.
catching up.
Yeah, you can get her.
Finance Director, would you like to come forward, please?
All right, so you received the November financial report, which actually looks good, but we have December spending ahead of us, which could change that. I think probably the place to look would be on page 39, where it shows the grand total of the major funds that we use here in the county. And in the middle of the page is basically where you can see, our revenues have been received at a higher rate than the expenditures had for each of the funds, which means, we've taken in more money than we've spent, and hopefully in December, we don't even that out. Then we'll be with a good year. Well, great year, we won't, as you can see, our budgeted deficit is $253,000 for this year, we were going to use fund balance for. And if we keep on this track, we won't be using,
We won't be what?
we won't be using the fund balance to cover
Okay.
2016.
Oh, that's
So it looks good.
And we'll do the final, the 27th, correct?
This was the complete total finance report that you sent us, right? Okay.
Well,
40,
this
there was there 40 pages, okay.
Right, this
Okay.
didn't include the line items for each department like it did
No.
for December.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the summary.
Right.
Did anyone have any questions? Thank you for your hard work.
Took a while to go through all that.
Hmm?
It took a while to read through all that.
It does, and then, it's good to look through it, see what we got going.
Okay. Did Rick Frank disappear?
Oh, we can find him again.
Is Rick out there anywhere?
And he-
Yeah.
Mr. Frank is here, so.
Yep, we're ready for him.
Mhm.
And while we're waiting for him, we can go ahead and take care of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Hank is here.
Thank you. Bye.
Second that motion?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We could go down to the discussion items. Discuss the initial training for new county ag inspectors. Did all of you have a chance to read through that? Yes, and are they wanting us to, we don't have to do anything, just talk about it, correct? That it's available?
you if you want
Or,
to.
any feelings about that?
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have an ag inspector, as I understand it, correct?
Correct.
Need one?
Is that mandated by the state?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
There has to be one. And I think wouldn't they, were they relying on townships, I think, to kind of keep an eye on things? But there has to be a person, a go-to person, to make it legitimate. And I don't think you want to do it without training him.
Right.
Just that simple. To pick some schmuck to do this, put on a hat,
Yeah.
do it.
So-
Train him.
So should we talk to the departments a little bit more about this? And see who, where we can be directed for someone that would do the training? And then bring it
Yeah.
back next week?
Sure.
Can do.
Okay, so could you add that to the agenda? All right. The abatement of taxes.
I'll make a motion to approve the abatement tax for the state of Minnesota acquired parcel.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Since we have a couple minutes, I'd like to discuss something with the rest of the board. We have to do department head evals before the end of the year. And so I'm asking if we could consider changing it up a little bit this year. And I have a list of all the department heads here. If we could have 2 commissioners sign after each one, and those commissioners could do the evaluation on that department head, and then we can combine all the information, share it amongst all of us, and then,
So instead of having them come in.
Instead of
Right,
having-
yeah.
More efficient. yeah.
Right, it's more efficient, and then we get a chance to talk to them. So what I propose is I'm gonna start it down at Dana and just start filling it
How
out.
many should we sign up for?
Whatever you're comfortable with. If you have people that, you know, you want to be in on, we'll start it that way. And, you know, like if they're on your committees or if you work closely with them. And then at the end, we'll copy and send that out to everyone so that you know where you are. Okay, so maybe later today you could
Yep.
send that out,
I'd be happy
and then
to.
we'll work at appointments with them. Thank you. Is Rick there or not? Okay, all right, well, we can,
Hank is here, but
Hank is here, he's the star.
For claims.
Oh, okay. And we need a motion to approve claims, human services,
License Center.
license center.
Disbursements, Dan. Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Chomey, would you like to give a report?
Sure.
And we can work in between. If Mr. Frank comes in,
Sure.
we'll stop. And
Okay. First of December, I had 2 meetings that day. First in the morning was water planning over at Soil and Water. We did some end of the year reports. And a lot of stuff's going on. Talking about one watershed, one plan. That night I had the extension committee with Teresa, and we had employee evaluations, reports from both Rebecca and Mike on what they've done for the last couple of months. They're keeping busy and doing great things. On the 7th, I had the EDA meeting, and we met over at LAX across Fabricating in Spring Grove and did a nice 1-hour tour of their facilities and found out that this EDA, that's one of the companies we gave some help with, County EDA, and they're in big help, or in big want for help, because their expansion's coming up, and one of the things they're looking into is getting the high school kids involved. Some of them are really good welders. I've seen that at school, and it's really good. So,
and that program, they're starting it in Spring Grove, but they're hoping to pull students from all across
they
the
hit
county.
Caledonia last week.
Okay,
Yeah,
Caledonia
yeah.
came in, joined too. Yep, their
Yes.
goal is to work into to make it a county-wide initiative, which is wonderful.
That's a good facility. I've lived in Spring Grove all my life. First time I got to tour it, and they do a lot of different metal fabricating. It was a good meeting, and I enjoyed it. And last night I had Truth and Taxation with you all. And that's it for me.
Okay. Okay, we'll take a break here, and we'll start up with Commissioner Walter in a few minutes. Mr. Frank and Hank, would you like to come up, please?
That's a long contract to read through, too.
Yes, it was. There's 3 of them. Kind of over.
Can you turn them on?
Yeah. Right, looking to get batteries on.
Andy must have a couple somewhere.
Okay, so he has to hook it up in order for us to get a signal, correct?
Well, while this thing is powering up, what I'd like to introduce you to is, I think some of you board members have never met Hank Cook. Hank is the solid waste.
Superstar?
Yes, there you go. I was had a guru or something on that order for La Crosse County. Just a little history here is that Houston County has a contract, and we've had contracts and a couple amendments to that contract since 1988 with La Crosse County That's where our solid waste goes to, the Excel burner, and our unacceptable waste goes to the La Crosse County landfill. We also have full access to their household hazardous waste facility year-round, plus 3 collections in the county that's provided between the 2 counties. So what we're here today about is the contract that Houston County has with La Crosse runs to the year 2023. Time flies pretty fast, and what La Crosse County has done is taken the initiative to start the process of negotiating with Excel to extend that contract beyond the 2023, so we have a lot of longevity, and we can add on to the different programs and stuff and be proactive as far as what we're doing with our solid waste, recycling, and hazardous waste. From that, like I said, their negotiations with Excel has been going extremely well, and what they're looking at now is there's a number of us outlying municipalities that have a contract with La Crosse that they're looking to extend at the same time as what their negotiations are with Excel. And right now, what they're looking at is an additional 7 years onto the contract that we have with Excel. So it would take us to the year 2030. I did say before that as far as our office is concerned, and as far as the working relationship we've got with La Crosse, it has gone very, very well over the last how many years with not much of a glitch. You do hear a little bit with price adjustments, but that's like with any business you have. You got to keep up with the expenses, and from time to time those adjustments have been made. Like I said, as far as the working relationship, it has been going very well. The thing is, the crust of our contract with La Crosse County is we are able to piggyback off on a lot of their programs. We are able to turn around and the crust of our long-term agreement or the initial agreement is 2 things. One is that it is not a put-and-pay contract. I was not in favor of that from out of the gates way back in 1988. And La Crosse and our Houston County were able to negotiate a contract without that type of language in it. The second thing is we are not to be treated, and I'm saying Houston County is not to be treated any different than a La Crosse resident. So what happens to them then will happen to us. So they are very aware of that fact, and we, like I said, that has been a very good driving force as far as a good working relationship with both counties.
Our good friend Andy will help you.
I'm sorry. Taking a little tweak here. Okay.
So, like I said, what La Crosse is trying to do now is extend those contracts, extend the programs. It makes things a whole lot easier when you've got a lot of longevity, when you start wanting to implement and be proactive as far as different programs coming down the line. So, with that said, I know the La Crosse County, what we call it, La Crosse County Policy Board, for which Judy and I attend every meeting that they have. Those are held on a quarterly basis, and what we do at those meetings is discuss things such as this here, or any new programs, or any issues that come up with the La Crosse County system, disposal system. And that has been a very good thing for us, because it basically keeps Houston County and all the municipalities up to date as far as what's going on. If there's price adjustments, or if there's issues within the system, we're able to basically have that discussion with La Crosse County and how that affects all of us as we move forward. So, like I said, with that, this has been on the at least the policy board's radar screen for about a year. Hank has kept us apprised of as the negotiations have been moving forward. They're getting closer to having that contract finished, and he's now reaching out to the municipalities that participate with them on this extension. With that, I then asked for Hank to basically address the county board at a meeting here so that we could have this discussion, because one is, I know there is going to be some decisions to be made, probably not this year, but next year, in regard to the long-term agreement as we move forward. So I wanted Hank to kind of explain everything that's as we go. So this is Hank.
Is it okay if I stand? I'm just full of energy today. Bright sunshine. My name is Hank Cook, and I am the director of the La Crosse County Solid Waste System. I'm a civil environmental engineer registered in the state of Wisconsin. I've done garbage my whole life. I fell into love with landfills when I was in college, and I've worked on landfills my whole career, 40-some years now.
We grew up together.
So first thing I want to do is tell you how pleased I am to be here. You're the first stakeholders that I'm addressing with this news, and I just bear a lot of good news today. The second thing I want to do is thank you. Thank you for being our partner for all these decades. Thank you for the appointees that you've generously given to our policy board to help with our decision making, to be involved with this. You've made our system stronger. And thank you for this bank of information, this institutional knowledge Rick Frank brings also to the policy board. It's stakeholders like this that make us the strength that we have. What I brought today was just a PowerPoint to kind of just go over some orientation, give you some updates, just get you re-familiar with what we're doing, talk about some of the future strategic issues. I'm not coming here with any crisis. I have no problem that has to be solved in the next 2 weeks. We are in a luxurious position of having time, and the stars right now are aligned for this system. So we're in great shape. The La Crosse County Solid Waste System, we've kind of labeled ourselves as a responsible resource, and we got 3 goals that we've been striving for. One is to be economically stable in the solid waste industry, to keep our prices level, to be stable. The second thing is, when we take your garbage, we want to be environmentally sound. We don't want you to have nightmares at night about where your garbage is going about or lose sleep on that. The other thing is, we want to be community vested. We want to be community supported. We want to be good neighbors in the business that we do with our stakeholders. On this slide that I have here, when I started my career back in the 70s, there were over 2,000 landfills in the state of Wisconsin. Right now there's 47. And the La Crosse system is the only Green Tier certified landfill in the state of Wisconsin. And to get that, we had to demonstrate that we had superior environmental performance above all other landfills, and we've done that. The regional system that we're all members of includes La Crosse County, parts of Buffalo and Trempealeau County in Wisconsin, and then parts of Wabasha County and Houston County. So that's our system. We handle about 175,000 tons of waste per year. Our annual budget is about $11 million. We've been in business 38 years, since the 70s. And we have a remaining site life, this is really amazing, of 23 years, and the ability to do expansions at that site that could carry us into 4 decades. So truly, I'm not sitting here with a crisis. I'm not saying, where's that barge load of garbage going to go because we don't have a home for it, and what are you going to do? That's not in front of you. We have opportunities right now. Some of the programs you're probably familiar with, and Rick kind of mentioned them. The very first big one is, of course, the landfill, where we dispose of waste. Whether it's industrial waste, demolition waste, asbestos, municipal waste, we can dispose of it at that site. But we also have waste to energy. Minnesota, I think, is ahead of Wisconsin in waste to energy in your policies and other things. And we know that that's a critical thing for Minnesota, so you as a partner in this system have access to waste to energy so you can fulfill the requirements that Minnesota expects of you. I believe very much in waste to energy as a better alternative to landfills. We have a citizen drop-off at the landfill site. We came out to Rick many years ago, looked at his system, and picked his brains for good ideas, and now that's become a really good facility at the landfill site. We have gas to energy. As the garbage decomposes in the landfill, we suck that landfill gas out, we clean it up, we send it over to Gunderson. It provides all the electricity for their Onalaska campus, and they recover heat from the engine, and they get 80% of their heat. That's won some national awards. We do a lot of waste diversion. If you have shingles, they don't go into the landfill. We can grind them up. Matthew buys them, uses them in asphalt, paving on roads. We get a lot of people with clean wood waste, and rather than dumping that in the landfill as demolition, we grind that up. It goes back to Excel, and Excel pays us as a fuel. So that offsets some of the costs we have with Excel. With that, we also grind up concrete and asphalt. We use that for roads in the landfill rather than having to buy it. Rick mentioned we have one of the few year-round household hazardous materials programs. We serve about 10,000 people with that per year. And we do outreaches not only to Houston County, but a bunch of other counties in the area. Truly a regional system. With those programs, we do a lot of community service. You'll see us in the spring on the Mississippi River with our containers, some of our people working with other volunteers to clean up the river, and we give them free disposal, use of our containers. We do things with Boy Scouts and a whole bunch of other programs. One of the ways you can also tell our values is to look at how we take care of the landfill. We don't treat it as a landfill. We treat it as a very good asset, a very important piece of property. And we have a land use plan. We're going to make that, and we are making it, into a recreational facility. When you see that love for the land and you see those are the people running your landfill, you get a really good feeling that they are taking care of your waste. This just isn't a job to us. We do a lot of community outreach. I love coming to meetings like this. I love going to Rotary. I love going to Boy Scout meetings and talking about the site. I love meeting with my neighbors in their house, giving them a tour and this thing. We do a lot of community outreach. The other thing is we have rebates, business approach. You as Houston County get rebates because you direct waste to our landfill, and you get to apply that rebate to the capital payment that we have to make on Excel. And you've done very well of all of our stakeholders. You're basically not having to pay because of your rebates. But we also give rebates to your haulers for using our system. And so Richards benefits from that by directing his waste to us. And those rebates are significant. They're $500,000 to $600,000 a year. So there's a real incentive for the stakeholders in our system to use our system. The first picture I show here is the landfill, and it's located right between the corner of 16 and I-94. So if you're going to the Valley View Mall, if you just turn the other way and kind of head to the northeast out towards West Salem, you'd pass it. But if you pass it and say, I didn't see it, I'll take that as a compliment. And I get a lot of people that say, I don't know where the landfill is. That's good, that I'm not causing problems to my neighbors and things. It's a large facility. It was started in '78. It had an older landfill site. When I started my career in the regulatory agency, I approved that first site. It leaked. It contaminated the groundwater. La Crosse County cleaned it up. We went in there, we totally removed the waste, we put it into a lined cell, and we did that voluntarily. There were no orders issued. EPA didn't have to get involved because we're going to protect the liability of our stakeholders. And so that site's been totally remediated and been expanded with the modern new liners. Here is the Excel facility on the south end of French Island. And of course, this facility's been around for a lot longer than the waste to energy as an old electric generating station. But it's been modernized. It has a RDF plant where they grind the garbage and put it into the boilers. They produce the electricity at this plant. So the municipal waste coming from residents primarily goes to this facility. Commercial waste that has bulky things in it, that might have furniture or things that can't be ground easily, that typically goes to the landfill, and that's how we separate the waste. Who takes waste to Excel? Well, La Crosse County produces about 80% of the waste. Houston County and Wabasha County each produce right around 7-8% of the waste, and then Buffalo and Trempealeau have a smaller portion at 2 and 4%. We do get a little waste in there from Winona. Some haulers come in, and even though they're not part of the system, there are a couple haulers that do drop off waste there. Surprisingly, I'm getting waste from Green Bay, from Milwaukee, from Madison. There are some big corporations, Georgia Pacific, Ball, Nestle's, Harley Davidson, who have adopted policies, and they have offices in Wisconsin that they said they want to have zero landfill waste. And so they will bring some of their waste to the Excel facility because they want it burned. And so we found a little market there. It's not big, it isn't great, but it's amazing that our facility has become important to some of these big companies. Here's the citizens drop-off, and yep, that's me. I'm helping somebody. I get a kick out of that. In fact, my office shouldn't overlook it because I just love going out and helping people unload trucks. Here's gas to energy. We take the gas out of the landfill, we clean it up, we pressurize it, we run it through about a 1.8 mile pipeline along the interstate, goes over to Gunderson and fires a generator. The generator produces electricity, and then they have radiators that take the heat from that engine, and then that heat provides the heat they need for the clinic also. They've even found a way to take that heat and run a chiller, so they're providing air conditioning in the summer from the heat of that engine. So very unique project. We have a processing pad on the landfill site. This is about a 6-acre pad, and it's an engineered pad with its own separate sedimentation basin to control the water. And we take, there's a big pile that in the center there of shingles. That's about 4,000 tons of shingles. And we have wood on there, and that's where it gets ground up, stored until we can ship it, etc. The value to our customers has been this. Back in 2011, when we had the shingle program going, we were hit with a hailstorm in the area, if you recall. And it was like end of April, beginning of May. And then one of the first tornadoes ever in the city of La Crosse, a small one, an F1 hit in May. And that was the same year the guarantee shingles had that warranty come up on them. Instead of getting 5,000 tons of shingles that year, we got 15,000 tons of shingles. And we ground these up. And Matthew was able to use them in a big interstate project to add to asphalt. Well, the impact to our contractors and our citizens was this. If you would have brought it in as demolition at that time, you would have had to pay $59 a ton. Because we had this program, you paid $30 a ton. $29 times 15,000 tons was $400,000 worth of savings to our customers. And that's how we run these programs. It's not to put money in our pocket, but to share the savings a program like this produces to our customers. Same thing with wood waste. If you bring wood in and it went into the landfill today, it would cost you $62 as demolition waste. If you bring wood onto this pad, it's $22. You save money. We can keep our price down because after we grind it up, I get money back from Excel to offset that. And so we're passing that on to our customers. This is the HHM facility. The picture on the top is the actual facility the citizens go to. The picture on the bottom is in our front entrance to our offices, and they go through the materials, and anything that's good that doesn't have to be disposed of, they put out there, and it's free to the public to take. I moved here 7, 8 years ago. My wife says that our budget for cleaning supplies has about 1/10 of what we used to spend, because we help ourselves just like everybody does. We go through, they went through 58,000 pounds in 1 month of things they were able to return. We handle about 800,000 pounds of material a year through this facility. Community service, this was Boy Scouts. We helped them with a metal drive that they used the landfill for. We have a lot of Eagle Scouts that have done their projects at the landfill, and we have 3 that are doing projects next year. This is land use. This is a boardwalk that we put through the wetlands, and it's the day of dedication on it, and they're walking up towards the side of the hill where this was an Eagle Scout project, the boardwalk, and on the side of the hill is a snake hibernaculum where snakes hibernate for the winter. That was designed and built by an Eagle Scout. And we just take care of the land where the landfill is. We see it as an asset, not as a liability. And that's how we see our whole system to our stakeholders. We've done a lot of community outreach. This is Maureen Friedland. She's on the policy board and on our oversight committee. And we've been recognized with some national awards for the things we've done at the landfill. But these are also a reflection of you. It's not just La Crosse County. You are the recipient of this award. Well, those are nice things, but let's talk money, because money is important. This is a graph of prices, what our prices have been since 1990. And so if you look at that top line there, you can see what the Excel rate is. And you can see it's been quite level for a long time, then took, am I reading this right? Excuse me, the red line on top is the municipal solid waste that goes to the landfill rate. And you can see it's been fairly level. It was up, was going up, and we made an adjustment towards 2009-10 or there. You can see the Excel rate is probably one of the flattest rates on that graph, which is the next one. And you can see the $1 increase from last year that has occurred there. What you see on there, if you look at one line that you see steadily climbing and it says Excel Ash, it's kind of the purple one, that is the rate Excel pays us to dispose of their ash. So they're paying us money to dispose of their ash, and it's tied to a CPI. Look at what CPI would do to pricing. If all those graphs had that same slope, we would be talking about tremendous costs. We think we've got economic stability here, and we've made some adjustments along the line here in consultation with our stakeholders to keep that stability. There's no increase for 2017, but Judy and Rick know that because they were at our policy board meetings. They came to our annual meeting, and they knew that was going to happen in June. And so you have forewarning, and as partners, we share with you what's going on. Another big important money issue is financial assurance. What if Hank retires, which I don't intend to do. But what happens to the system, or what if it's closed? Are you on the hook for something here? You are not. All the money to close that site and take care of that site for 40 years, which is what the state of Wisconsin requires, has been put aside. It's in the bank. It's controlled by DNR. And so today, if you said, get out of here, close your site, we could do it. And we wouldn't send you a bill. You wouldn't have any impact from this. But I don't want to close it. It's a good site, and it's serving a good purpose, so we want to go as long as we can. Every year we go over this with the policy board and all of our stakeholders that we are fully funded. Every year we get audited, and we share the results of the audit. We bring them to our annual meeting, and at the annual meeting we go through a whole set of slides on where did we make our money, How did we spend our money? What do we have in reserve? How are we going to use the money in the future? Here's the biggest future challenges we have, and I'm looking forward to them. We came out of the recession, I think, pretty good. 2008 to 2010, we saw garbage go down. There was less of it. We came out, and surprisingly now, we had all the garbage in the landfill that we had budgeted for this year on September 30th. So that means we've been taking garbage October, November, and December. It's all above budget, and it's higher revenues than we expected. Now there's some costs with that, but revenues are higher than expenses for us. But it's created a little problem for us. We need to develop some new cells. And so we're building our new cells. We've already started that. We've got enough space right now to last us an additional 23 years at that site, without getting any additional permits or doing anything, just simply building it. So we've already started that. When I showed you the landfill site, and if you've come into there, you probably said, boy, I don't like this entrance. There's trucks, there's citizens, it's on a curve, there's a scale right there. It's dangerous. And so we've been waiting for years to build a new entrance, and we're just starting that process. We're designing it now. We'll have a new site entrance. One of the things we wanted to do for our customers is we only have one scale. So you have to weigh on, then you have to go around the building, come back. That means you have a little bit of a wait sometimes. We're going to put 2 scales in, just like Xcel has, in and out, much quicker, much more safe. We have some ongoing capital and debt management issues that are being successfully resolved. The administrator in La Crosse County came up with some really good ideas on how to refinance our debt, which we did in this last year. That has been very beneficial. It has lowered our debt payments. It has extended them, and that has helped. Remember, the debt on Xcel will expire in 2023. So if we do this contract extension, I'm not about to tell you that we have a new debt payment. Our goal is to avoid that, to be debt-free in 2023 and run a 7-year extension with no debt. That's almost like $1 million payment. That will allow us to keep prices down. And so that's one of our strategies for the future. Our contract with HHM with the La Crosse communities is up in 2017. We've got to extend that. And we're working on that. And then the biggest thing that I came to talk to you about, and to be the first people I'm actually sharing this information with, is where are we with the Xcel Energy contract renewal? And as Rick mentioned, that one goes to, right now we're under contract together to the year 2023. We've been looking at this for about 4 years, and if you wanted to do something other than waste to energy, you need 10 years if you want a different plant. A new plant would cost you $50 million. Personally, we're not big enough. Our whole regional system isn't big enough to make an investment like that. And we felt that the advantage of starting these discussions early was to be in a position where we could better dictate the terms of the extension. Whereas if we approached Xcel a year before the contract was going to be expired, we wouldn't have had any choice on the things. And I think that has successfully worked. And fortunately, they were in a mood to talk to us because they had extensions they needed to do in Minnesota. So our timing was good. County Board, La Crosse County Board authorized us to move ahead with the discussions. We started over a year ago with our first meeting with Xcel and doing monthly reports to our committees, keeping Policy Board up to speed on this. Some of the important facts about this contract is that, yes, it expires on June of 2023. The contract right now, as it's being presented to us, could be extended to the year 2040. It would do that by having a 7-year extension right now, and then 2 5-year extensions if all parties agree at that time they want to further extend it. So it could go out to 2040. Now the current landfill has a life to around 2038, and we have the ability between now and that 2040 date to do an expansion that would add 10 to 20 years, so the landfill will last these numbers get out of my head. But a long time. I don't think I'm going to be here. But the life is long, and that's the luxury of this system. Here were the issues that we discussed with Excel, and we've heard back from Excel from the president's level that they've accepted in concept all these issues that I'm presenting to you. Right now we're writing contract language to confirm it. We'll be sharing that with you as our stakeholders. And then once we've seen that both the La Crosse County Board and Excel agree to all the contract language, then I'll be coming to you again to say, would you like to sign up for extension with the system under these terms? The first issue was the length of the contract. So it would be extended 7 years, and then there are 2 5-year automatic approvals if we all agree. The effective date of the contract of this new extension would be January 1st, 2017, because there are some financial provisions in it. Good financial provisions, not bad ones for us. One of the first issues that we asked for is our current contract says that if we as a system don't deliver 73,000 tons of waste per year, we get certain penalties from Excel. Now, we haven't had to pay those penalties in 7 or 8 years because we've managed to handle this. Right now, we're running 75 to 76,000 tons. I think it's going to stay that way strong. But I don't like penalties. And I just didn't like having that over my head. So I asked that they reduce that clause and say that we could go down to 70,000 tons if we had another recession or something and we were short a little garbage without getting penalties. They have agreed to that. Another thing in our contract is that when we deliver more than 73,000 tons, we have to pay an excess fee. It's around $42 a ton. And I just kind of said, you know, it seems like if I'm 1 ton short, I'm paying a penalty, and if I'm 1 ton over, I'm paying an excess fee. I said, can't we have more of a dead man zone in the middle where we're neither being charged nor being penalized? And so we talked about it, and they said, well, when we process more waste, it does cost us more, but we'll give you a discount on anything between 73 to 75,000 tons. So we're getting a $9 a ton discount on that tonnage. That's an improvement. That's about $18,000 a year. I'll take that. I certainly asked for more, but that's what I got. We take some oversized bulky waste, and it's inevitable that somebody's going to put something in a bin or it's going to get there. Excel has to pick it out, and they typically charge our system $105 a ton to handle that. And then we try and back charge the hauler so he can charge his customer, but we only get about 50% of that. You can't capture it all. And I said the $105 is a little bit steep. Can you roll that price back? And they said yes, they'd roll it back to $95 a ton. And then we asked for a cap on inflation because it was tied to that same inflation factor our ash was. And we said, let's put an inflation no greater than 1% on those charges. And so they agreed to that. So that minimizes some of the costs that we can't recover from the customers. And they in turn said they want us to keep an education program, to work with the haulers, give them flyers, to work with customers, that if they get something wrong in there, to work with them to find a better way to handle it, make sure it doesn't get to the plant. We only get about 1.8, 1.9% of the waste causes this problem. It's a very small percentage. Now, Excel wanted some things, and this was a big issue to them. I mentioned that we take their fly ash, and you saw in the graph, you saw that line. I wish my retirement fund was that line. They felt that the price they were paying for their ash was out of line, market price, just was not fair. It was the contract, but they said it was out fair. I looked into it. They were right. It was out of line. It's a good deal for us. We're making some good money on this. But it was out of line. They in turn said, we would like that price rolled back to $40.96 a ton, and they used our same concept. We don't like that inflation rate that was in the contract. We want a 1% maximum on that. We looked at that and said that we couldn't do this unless we had an extension, and we had the ash for quite a few years, because with the investments we have to pay them off for that, where we have the ash monofill. And so we said, so we have to have your ash for the life of the contract. They agreed to that. And so, and we very carefully modeled this to make sure that this would not be unprofitable for us to enter into this agreement. And it's okay. This was the biggest thing they asked for from a financial. That does not affect you directly. That reduces some of the revenue in the short term that I get. But in the long term, I actually get more money. And that's where it benefits me, because the debt we have on the ash monofill will be paid off long before this contract is over. And again, I'll be using that money at that time. With that, we also take some bottom ash, which we use for daily cover in the landfill site. And we decided to tie those together. We take that for $17 a ton. I don't have to pay my contractor to handle it, and I don't have to pay the state of Wisconsin any fees for that. So that's why we have a lower price. I asked them to raise it to $18.50 a ton. They agreed. It's now for the life of the contract rather than from year to year. And again, we put a 1% maximum inflation on that per year. So you can see there's been a lot of give and take with Excel. They got things they needed, but we got quite a few things. Theirs might seem a little bit bigger, but because we got more things, it adds up to equivalent savings for us. Here's the important slide. It's like, is there going to be a shoe here, Hank, that you're going to drop on the table? Did they raise their prices? They did not. So this contract extension has no raise in the base operation and maintenance fees. There is no, any improvements to that plant under the contract is a requirement on them. If they have to put in a new motor, a new conveyor belt, that's on them, not on us as stakeholders. There is a provision in the contract that says if the EPA changed laws and suddenly we had to put on some golden precipitators, well, then we'd have to come together as stakeholders and decide if we would want to continue at that time. But before we entered into these discussions, I went to the National Conference on Waste to Energy with one of our supervisors, and we talked to EPA, we talked to the national consultants, and we said, this is our facility, this is the regulations we're under, are we in jeopardy? And they said, absolutely not. We're trying to get the other 86 facilities to get up to the Excel standards that we have here. That's because of the lawsuit that we suffered in 2002. It actually made us stronger, got us ahead of other people, and now that's actually helping us. They did not change the inflation either in the contract, other than those things that I mentioned in here. So in a nutshell, that's what we talked about. These were the recommendations that I had brought back to La Crosse County and to Corporation Counsel and our administrator. I said we should proceed with the drafting of the contract extension, and that's what we're doing. We're drafting the language to put all these ideas on paper. I believe we'll have that copy Thursday. I think we're sharing it with Excel. And then we're waiting for Excel's reaction to the wordage. In concept at the president's level, they've said, we agree with these concepts, but they need to look at the words. Then what our plan is in January to bring that, once Excel has looked at it and when they say, yep, we're happy with the wording, is to bring that final contract back with a resolution to the La Crosse County Board saying that we would like this approved. And that we want to enter into an extension with the majority of our stakeholders, contingent on the majority of our stakeholders agreeing with this. What I'm doing concurrently with this, though, is I wanted to share with you to let you know this is what's going on, this is how it's happening. And so we will be coming back once we know Excel is okay with the words and county board is okay, saying, look, they're going to sign this. Are you willing to sign a separate agreement saying you're our partner for the next 7+ years? So I hope one of the things I did today for you was demonstrate that we are your responsible resource. We're committed to providing you with superior environmental performance. I don't want you to have nightmares about where your garbage goes. We're good stewards of the land, and it just shows you our values. Good regulatory compliance. We wouldn't have that green tier status, and we wouldn't have when people from out of state come in and DNR says, or they ask DNR to look at a landfill, they send them to us. That's quite a compliment. Good fiscal management. As you can see, and it's well thought out. We take our stakeholders' input in it. We plan ahead. We use models. We do a lot of forecasting. Believe in continuously improving. Policy board has given us some ideas about how we might approach price increases in the future. To not be reactionary, to have more of a plan. And so that's the next big agenda on our next policy board meeting, is to talk about a formal price increase plan. What is it? And you can't tell from me, we're energized for the future. So if you have any burning questions, happy to answer them. And I'll leave some contact information up here.
I just have a comment. Being on this solid waste board has been like the biggest learning experience that you could ever get. I mean, I have learned so much, and to know where your garbage goes and that it's, you know, being taken care of so efficiently. And Mr. Frank does just an awesome job of keeping Houston County intertwined with all of this, and is such a base of reason. And the fact that this board gets representation on that board is really important. And I want to thank both of you for the great jobs that you do for our county.
Our pleasure.
I will agree with that. I like being on that board too, but I thought it would be a good learning experience for everybody to
Definitely.
be part of it.
I will offer this, though. I mean, as far as the county board and public also, and I've talked this with Hank several times too, if there's any, say, questions, or if you have, or you would actually want to go on site to look at some of this stuff, it is really interesting to watch when it's dumped to a floor on the garbage, to go through the whole process and how it's dealt with, you know, through the
And the
plants
amount of recycling that's done at the
plant itself
Excel
also.
plant. I mean, I was
That's
just
been all added on over the years. I mean,
I
like
was
said, it's
just
been a-
really impressed with that we're not burning things that are recyclable, like all of our aluminum and metals and stuff. And that was very interesting.
But, I mean, if any of the boards and public would like to take a tour of these facilities, to look at how this is all being implemented, that we could very well set that up for that to happen.
Just keep up the good work for us.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
I'm going to leave you some handouts here that you can pick up. We were blessed in that in the last year we got 3 articles in national magazines. So I'm going to leave you with copies on the table here. Please take them. You know, we don't do that because we got a big ego. We do it to share the honor of our system with people. And the article that was in here about changing the perspective of landfills in a solid waste system being an asset to a community versus a liability. I got an email from South America. The largest waste company in South America contacted us. They have their own internal university to train their people, and they said, we're studying what you're doing in La Crosse. And they actually had a long list of questions that I had to answer them because they were teaching a course on Saturday, and they wanted to know why we did this, how we did this, how we worked together, etc. And I was just tickled that people on an international basis are examining this system which you're part of and seeing the benefits of it.
It's great. And if you want to see Hank with hair,
If I only had it.
He did for a day.
Thank you.
Just incredible. Thank you so much.
Please come and visit.
It's worth the time that you take to go and see it. It's so interesting. It's a little scary when Hank drives you over some of the hills, though.
You're up.
Wait a
Okay.
second. Is there
Well,
anything
I'll
else
make
that?
mine kind of short in the essence of time here, but
Wait 1 second, though. Is there something else that you wanted to bring up, Rick?
Well, the only thing is just keep in mind as we run forward here that, it's gonna take, like I said, Hank has got contracts coming down to us. There's no draft yet, but I think what he's looking at the board is to bring them, up to speed, and maybe some of the new members that, as we move forward, these are the different things that are all going into that program, going into that new contract. And as we move forward, we need to take a look at those things and if there's questions or concerns or going forward, we'll be able to, like I said, the lacrosse has been good to us as far as answering those questions and including us on some of these, like I said, these programs that have been going very
It'd be a
well.
really worthwhile thing for all the new board members and the ones that are staying that haven't toured it to
Like I
tour
said,
it, 'cause it's.
before we maybe move forward, if the board members want to do that, I certainly can work with Hank in setting that up. So that
Okay.
you have a good idea going forward on that new contract, what it's all about.
And did you want to discuss ag bags?
We did that
Oh,
earlier.
okay, sorry, I missed that.
We're going, we're going to
Okay.
go forward with that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay, I will make mine as brief as I can. I also had county extension meeting with Dana, and like he said, we did employee reviews, we had reports, we talked about looking for the farm family of the year for next year, and that was a good meeting, very long.
Yes, it was.
But then I attended the AMC conference, and very good workshops. I have notes for each one I was going to present this morning, but there again, in essence of time, I won't go through it. The keynote speaker was
Andrew Fastow.
from
Enron.
Enron,
Yep.
who had spent 5 years in prison and 6 years
6
total,
years,
yeah. And how important it is to have good morals and ethics that override the law, even though it
Mhm.
says it's okay in the law. Sometimes you make decisions beyond that.
Yeah.
It was very good, better than I anticipated.
Mhm.
But I am chair of the state extension committee, and we had a very good speaker again. I think I brought that up every year. This one is a professor, assistant professor for an entomologist, and he spoke on the neonicotinoid insecticides. Wow, I know. You should try and introduce him. But he gave a very good slide because there is a governor task force to regulate it a little bit more. And I could get the PowerPoint for you if you'd like to see some of the things he brought up. That was good. I did take the Truth in Taxation, so that we'll have it's online now. I went to the Truth in Taxation meeting, but I took the certification exam for our Board of Equalization and Appeals. So I did that this week. And our new commissioners training is January 25th and 26th in St. Paul and I can get the information to Shar for signing up the new commissioners.
Already did it.
Oh, you already did?
Yep.
Okay, good. I went to sessions on deleting silos, a restorative approach to county government with the goal of not doing personal agendas, but what's good for the county. Was very interesting too. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you. Commissioner Zansky?
Truth and Taxation meeting last night. went well. Nothing really major going on. Other than that, that's about it.
I too had Truth and Taxation and the AMC conference. And in it, I guess, I attended the general government session, and in there, really what they were proposing were some, just some, I guess, clerical cleanup in their bylaws and so forth. And I thought it was kind of unusual. There was no mention of our budget surplus, state budget surplus, like there was last year. I don't know what happened to it. Just doesn't seem to be there anymore. Also attended a session on drones, the laws involved there. I don't see us immediately using them, but I do see them being used in the future. I think that's coming up. Attended the MCIT annual meeting. I also took a session on the Data Practices Act. The attorney there spoke that where it may appear to be clear, data practices that is, it's kind of hard to comply with, or hard to, if somebody presenting the facts, I guess, under data practices. It's doable, but once you start redacting, what have you got? There's been documents with two words that's been so redacted. Open meeting law was another session I attended. And then again on this, Andrew Fastow, CFO for Enron. He explained that everything that he did was legal, generally accepted accounting principles. However, you can be a little. He said that he had a spreadsheet that made the company Enron a BBB+, an excellent investment. But he said on that same spreadsheet, he had another column, that if you put the numbers in as they really are, it was a BB- junk bond, an absolute junk bond. It's all in how it's presented. So he got 6 years in prison. Now he's a hit on the speaking business, I guess. He was very fun to listen to, excellent to listen to. That's what I have.
Okay, I had the Truth and Taxation, but I also want to talk a little bit more about the department head review schedule that I sent out. Since the surveyor is blank, so we really don't have to evaluate anyone. Dana, would you be willing to work with either the highway engineer, human services director, information systems director, or the veteran service officer?
And I can take some more. I just didn't have time to finish.
Would you be able to pick one?
Human service just started, right? Do they need to be evaluated?
I think it's good just to touch base on for what our expectations
Just
are.
wondering.
Yeah. Would you want to do that one? Or, I mean,
The highway. I'll
you
do
can think
highway.
about it. Highway? Okay. Thank you, Dana. And then,
Whatever you need.
what else I would like to see is if you could have these done and the reports to Shar so that we can have them compiled by the 27th meeting.
Do you have a
And-
form we're using
Yeah, yes.
for evaluation?
Yes, we shortened up the one that we used last year, where it had all of those questions, and it has less questions now.
That's good.
And then that's all been emailed out to the department heads already, so we'll have HR email it out to us. And then as far as elected officials, do we want to see if they want to meet? In other years, we've given them the option if they would like to meet with the board for an evaluation purpose. Would you like an email sent out about that, and then we'll just take care of that
As needed.
as needed? Does that sound all right with everyone? Do you have a consensus for that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then we'll go ahead with that, and we'll get a copy of this out to everyone, so you know who you're working with. And it doesn't make any difference whether you're doing your review, both of you together at the same time or separate, however you want to do it, just so that you have a good written up review, so that we can do this.
Okay.
All right?
So we meet at their department head?
Yep,
It'd be
you're gonna meet the department head,
personally.
right, like you're gonna call up and say, like, if you have the assessor, when would be a good time that we could meet and we could go and do a department head review? But
Okay.
the one thing we want is good notes so we can share it amongst each other. Okay? Thank you.
When does that have to be done by? The
Well,
last meeting of the?
we want it done before the last meeting so that it can be compiled, and then after that, in the last few days of the year, I need to get it out to each of them. So if you could, even by the Friday before the 27th, if we got it to you by that, oh, that doesn't give you any time at all. How about if we try and get this done in the next 10 days? And we'll get it in, okay? So work at getting it done in the next 10 days, and then we'll get it in, and Char will compile it all, and then everyone will get a chance to look at it, so that if you have any strong feelings one way or the other, that you have the opportunity to voice it in that, that evaluation. Okay? And let's see, did we go over everything else on our agenda? Was there anything else we needed to talk about today? Okay, then this being our first meeting of the month, we'll do public comment at this time. If you'd like to do public comment, please raise your hand and we'll ask you to come forward. We just ask that people be respectful. Is there anyone who would like to give public comment today? Is there anyone who would like to give public comment? Yes, come forward, please. State your name, which we know, but for the record.
Fred Arnold, Wilmington Township. It was really nice to hear a gentleman give a presentation who knew how to use that microphone.
And he has a loud voice.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
hey,
yep.
that was nice.
We appreciate
have-
that
you know,
comment.
the gentleman sitting next to me made the comment at one point this morning, I certainly wish those people would speak up.
And we try to have people speak up for you too, so,
Not just referring to people here.
yes, up here
Referring
too.
to people there also. Sorry
Okay,
about that.
that's all right. Thank you. It doesn't hurt to remind us. Is there anyone else who would like to give public comment today? Anyone else who would like to give public comment today? Come forward, please.
Morning, Commissioners. Ken Jumper from La Crescent Township. You know, it was about 5 years ago next month that a bunch of us met in Buckbee's home to talk about the threat of frac sand mining to this county. And needless to say, none of us ever anticipated that we would have this long, drawn-out political battle that we've had, and we'd have this incredibly high level of acrimony that occurred over the last 5 years. And I, for one, generally feel bad about it. You know, just listening to this great presentation today from Mr. Hawk, everybody in this room agrees that that's just spectacular what they're doing and really supports it. And yet over this issue about frac sand mining, I frankly cannot figure out why we had such a divide in this county, such acrimony over such a long period of time. You're all aware that Winona County banned frac sand mining a couple weeks ago, and you know, we could have been the first county to do that. They got a lot of recognition for it. I hope we do it in the near future. But I just want to say, you know, we're all middle-class people here. We have, I think, pretty much all the same values, and I really feel it was unfortunate what has happened over the last 5 years among so many of us here. And you know, I've been a very political person all my life, and frankly, I can't figure out what happened, and I think about that every day, and I don't know if I'll ever quite figure out what happened here in this county over the last 5 years. So I just wanted to say that. I think that there's a lot more things we have in common among all of us than we have dividing us, as unfortunate as that was. So thank you, and have a good holiday, Commissioner.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment? Anyone else? There being nothing else to come before the board, a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.